What's going on, guys? We're going to jump right into this video. I'm here to talk to you guys about my Clomid experience, my journey the last 2 years, and hopefully you guys can learn something. Keep in mind, this is not, medical advice. I'm not a licensed physician by any means. I'm just talking about my positive experience on the drug, and if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down below. So I was in the gym this morning. I was thinking to myself, not a lot of people have been talking about their experience on Clomid, positive experience, I should say, on Clomid online. I more so just seek content on how it works, why people take it, post cycle. But so this video is kind of directed towards those who are natural, may look at TRT, may look at some things to boost their testosterone when they're younger, and they may not want to compromise things. Not everybody needs TRT right now. I'm a fan of TRT. I'm not anti-TRT, but there are other things to consider, especially if you're a little bit younger. Also, one thing I want to point out, I have maxed out everything I could in terms of supplements, lifestyle changes. So this was a decision I made 2 years ago, almost exactly 2 years ago, actually, where I was like, I need to try something here because I've tried all the supplements in the world. Some didn't do much, some barely, raise my T levels. If anything, they bring them back up to baseline of what they actually are. They sort of just support things, if that makes any sense. They just fill in the holes a little bit, but they're not going to take your numbers, above and beyond. So I decided it's time, and it's frustrating because 17 hours of sleep a night. I don't drink alcohol. I'm like 10 to 12% body fat year round. I eat very clean, so it was time. So these are labs taken a couple weeks ago, late February, I think like the 20th. And I always do this at the trough. So I take 100 milligrams a week, split up in two, so 50 and 50. So 50 Sunday, 50 Wednesday milligrams. Took this test Wednesday morning, did not take my Clomid until post labs. So I like to see the worst, quote unquote, worst possible outcome. I like to, I think the trough's important to see. So is the peak. We'll talk about that. So total testosterone, actually, if anything, it's a little bit low. I usually sit between 1200 and 1150. If if you really want to look at numbers, I care more about the free, to be honest with you. But it's winter time here, so I do find that my numbers and my mood, everything just goes up in the summer. Makes me think maybe I should move to a year-round sunny spot like Florida. And my free is fine. I have some stress going on. Your testosterone is going to fluctuate, but when you look at the over time, right? I mean, that's pretty consistent since 2023, right there. Pretty consistent. So that was, I think, later March, 1100. Now, one morning, this was last year, I I accidentally took my dose of Clomid that morning, so I actually saw the peak, which is not a bad thing. You kind of want to see that peak too every once in a while, but I keep it consistent. Now, my free, pretty consistent. I mean, it's across the board. So this is the lowest. I remember seeing this like, it's the lowest it's been, but still pretty high. And you kind of have these peaks here a little bit. This was in July. This is, how high it was when we saw my actual peak. But you kind of see the summer trend here. So, sunlight does make a difference a little bit, no matter how optimal you are. It's a powerful thing for the body. Estrogen, let's go up. Pretty dang good. It's all about that ratio. I don't know what's going on here, to be honest with you. I think this was a lab error. I feel fine. Things do happen, but I mean, you should have a nice ratio between testosterone and estrogen. So you don't want your estrogen being too high or too low. Again, I feel fine right now. I think it's a lab error. Doesn't really happen often. Can't tell you why. Now, if my total T dropped, dramatically, I would say, okay, something's going on. Cool thing too is my T3 is in a good range. A lot of my numbers are really good since I've been optimized, and my levels have been good. Side effects, well, I'll be honest with you guys, not many. I wake up with erections every morning. I feel great most of the time. When I say most of the time, like 95% of the time, energy's great. But every once in a while, I do have these spikes in, anxiety. I've always had anxiety, so it's not like new anxiety. My numbers are pretty high. You know, your testosterone jumps. You're gonna be a little bit more, you know, high alert, anxious, maybe a little bit more, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. But I have noticed that. Could it be the zooclomiphene? I don't know. No way to tell unless I jump off this. So I've been doing this for 2 years straight. My workouts have been great. Everything's great. Everything's optimized. I have no issues. Now you're probably wondering, well, why don't you just jump to enclomiphene to mitigate all of this? Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make. I'm doing well in Clomid, and also too, enclomiphene's hard to get it compounded. It's not as easy. I think most of these people are going through these research chem sites, which is fine. Do what you want, but I like mine compounded, and I'm doing great on it so far. I don't know what the future holds. This is not going to be. Excuse me. I can't see myself on this 5+ years. There's also not a lot of research on the long-term effects. And also, too, keep this in mind because I see this all the time on Reddit. I've had my eyes checked by a professional actually last year. She knew I took a serum and no problems there. I don't have any vision issues. I don't have any floaters. I'm not taking a lot of Clomid. I know some people, I see some dosages and it's through the roof, but you don't need a lot. Start with, start low. I don't know why people have, in their mind, the more the better. That goes with TRT too. I see, a good starting dose is 200. Well, 200 a week can be high for somebody or low for somebody. Everybody's different, but you want the best possible outcome, with the body, with the lowest dose, and you can work up. But the moment you kind of just jump into it right away and you're just taking too much of something, you gotta be responsible about it. I have not exceeded 100 milligrams a week. I don't want to. I don't need to. There's no point. I have dropped back to 25, even 75. I feel better at 100. So, yeah, guys, this is it. This is where I'm at right now. Again, no idea why my numbers were this low given my lifestyle, but in this day and age, it's hard to stay optimized. Even if you do everything right, just the environment we live in. And it's too bad because I don't want to be, I don't want to have to take something, but here we are, and this is the right choice for me because, I'm a little bit on the younger side. I have no idea if I want kids, a little personal here. No idea, but, I think this is a smart approach for myself, and I'm making these decisions for me. So if you guys have any questions, just drop them down, ask whatever you want. I'm here to just give you my experience. I'm not giving advice here. I see a lot of people see these things on Reddit and kind of run with it. Everything has side effects. Everybody's response to drugs are different. So take Reddit with a grain of salt. There's some doctors out there who are very pro Clomid, some of them not so much. So that goes with everything, So not anti-TRT here. I'm not advocating for Clomid here. I'm just sharing my experience because I don't really see anybody talk about it online in a positive light. So there you go. We'll wrap this up, and I'll talk about my IGF-1 levels in the next video if that's something you're interested in. I'll kind of jump into that a little bit. So yeah, that's it for today.